Thank you, Tara. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here to talk briefly about the Kansas FAFSA tracker and share information about that and then answer any questions as well. Give me a moment while I share my screen. I'm going to do a live demonstration. If you can let me know, can you guys see my screen? Perfect. So the Kansas FAFSA tracker is a website. My company, Data Insight Partners, this is a service we provide for free to states who want to, because we, believe in the power in education, and this is our way to kind of give back to the community. So this FAFSA tracker Kansas site, this is our first year with that. And the idea behind the site is to provide you really easy access to see how you're doing and the percent of students who are completing the FAFSA, and then track that improvement over time, both within the year and then year over year. We get all the data for the FAFSA tracker Kansas site is from the Federal Student Aid website. There's a link on the site if you ever want to look it up, but really what we do is they put out this spreadsheet each week that is kind of a gnarly spreadsheet that is just like hundreds of rows of data that isn't very user friendly. And what we try to do is we combine that with your enrollment data that we got from the Kansas State Department of Education, and we turn it into the FAFSA tracker Kansas site. You'll just have to, this is what that looks like. So on the home page, what you can do at kansas.fafsatracker.com, you can view your school profile. So every high school in the state of Kansas has its own profile page. I'm going to look up one that I looked up earlier, Spearville Junior Senior High. It's kind of in Southwest Kansas. This is the Spearville Junior Senior High school profile page. You can see they're doing really well. Their FAFSA completion numbers are up 70% year over year. So on your school profile, some things I draw your attention to. One, you can see your completion rate right here. So you can see how close you're getting to that 60% threshold. This chart here is going to show you your count of completions. The blue line is this year, the red line is last year. So you can see, are you completing more FAFSA applications this year? Or fewer, or about the same. And then right here, we can see how many more this year you have completed, your students have completed compared to last year. And then down below, we have all the raw data. And if you ever want to download that raw data, you can just click download, and that'll download an Excel file for you. If I click on FAFSA Tracker Kansas, it's going to take me back home. A few resources that I want to draw your attention to up here at the top. The community resources, this is where you can get that link to where we got the kind of raw data from FSA. Here's some research about the impact of encouraging students to complete the FAFSA, some links to some FSA websites, and then links back to the KBOR websites as well. At the top, school resources, if you click on that, that also takes you to the Kansas Regent site, where you have lots of resources related to the FAFSA events. There's two more pieces that I want to share with you. One is this current FAFSA rates. What this is a chart that has every high school in the state of Kansas has a little bar here. And you can see the completion rate for every high school in the state of Kansas. Now this is that you guys have quite a few high schools. So if you want to narrow it down, there's a few things you can do. One, if you just want to see where your school is in the list, you can go in here and you can just type your school's name. So I'm just going to look at Spearville again. I'm going to pick Spearville Junior Senior High, and I can see there are about 6 from the top in the whole state of Kansas. But if you want to look not at all the high schools in Kansas, but instead you want to look maybe just at all the schools in your, I don't know how to, the KSHSAA, Kasha, is that how you say that?
Kesha is how we say it.
Yeah, it's a lot of consonants altogether. So Spearville happens to be in the 1A. So if I pick 1A, it's going to limit me just to all the schools in 1A. So I can see how I compare now just to, are they not in, maybe they're not in 1A. I thought I found them earlier. Yeah, there they are. There we go. Sorry. So I can see they're about 5th from the top in all the 1A schools. So this is really a great way where you can filter this page to just your Kesha division and see how you're doing compared to everybody else. This, by default, we're showing the completion rate, but you can also look at completion counts as well. So if you want to look at, so there's a lot of different ways you can look at, and some things make more sense depending on if you're really trying to improve, if you were doing well last year, like just how things look. Under school comparison, the other page I can look at is the leaderboard. On the leaderboard, this is where I can see the top 10 schools, and I can filter a lot of different ways where I can see the top 10 schools from the start of the cycle. If you're a big school, looking at completion count makes a lot of sense, but if you're a smaller school, some of the bigger schools in the metropolitan areas will always have really high completion counts because they have, 400 or 500 kids in their graduating class. So you can change this metric to completion rate instead. And then this is where you can see, who's had the biggest increase in completion rate since the start of the cycle, or I can look at just the last week. So I can see that Shaylin Junior High School has had the biggest increase in completion rate this last week. And then I can also look over the last month, and I can see Logan High had the biggest increase in completion rate in the last month. So these are lots of ways to kind of see how you're doing. It's a great way to look to see, like, hey, we've done a lot of FAFSA events where we had FAFSA nights and we met with every student. Look a couple weeks later after their applications have been submitted and completed, and they'll show up on the FSA site, and you should be able to see kind of the fruit of your labor, so to speak. So those were the big elements that I wanted to share with you with the Kansas FAFSA tracker. So again, a great place to go for your school. Under school profile, look yourself up. You can go to Spearville Junior Senior High. You can see your school profile. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe to that school's results. You just type in your email, click subscribe, and every week you're going to get an update email automatically. And then you can use the current FAFSA rates in the Kansas leaderboard to see how you're doing compared to other students across the whole state of Kansas, or you can filter down to just schools in your KSHA division.